have noticed in myself and in others that people are inclined to say, I couldn't possibly do that, when they see others playing a game particularly well or doing a skillful job. Maybe they couldn't, but you're beaten before you begin if you start life with that outlook. In any case, no one is much good at anything at their first attempt. So even if the conditions of the award make you feel, oh, I couldn't possibly do that, remember that we have taken great care to see that the difficulties are not overwhelming. In fact, almost anybody can win through, but only with effort and practice.
Most alarming. But if you're more frightened by the bell than the fire, well, perhaps that's as it should be. Truth to tell, the fire is something of a make-believe. These are the boys of Dunstable Grammar School out on fire practice, ably assisted by the local fire brigade. Or should that be the other way around? No confusion. Every man knows his job. It's good fun, too. But who doubts that it would be just as orderly, just as efficient, if this were the real thing? Firefighting is but one of the many public services for which a boy may train. If fires hold no appeal, but you still have a liking for water, you can dive in and learn the art of life-saving. Here is a truly valuable accomplishment. And, of course, artificial respiration is an essential part of the training. Here at Technical Training Command of the Royal Air Force at St. Athens, near Cardiff, boys who have already qualified for life-saving are training for the Advanced Award. Clothing is worn to simulate the conditions under which, after all, most rescues have to be made. This is a demonstration of the uni-grip method of life-saving. A point of etiquette. Should the poor fellow be asked which method he preferred? And now, a means by which the victim can not only be brought safely to the bank, but taken from the water without further help. Having escaped fire and water, it is still open to us to break an arm. Someone trying it out? Relax. All part of the show. A demonstration at Fairburn House Boys Club by past and present national champions of St. John Cadets. The supposed injuries include a wound on the temple, ow, and a compound fracture of the leg. In this corner, another cheerful sufferer has a fractured kneecap. Many of the youthful audience will doubtless choose this neighborly and worthwhile way of rendering service to their fellow men. These two cadets are already the proud holders of the Duke's Silver Award.
As far as possible, each boy makes his own choice of activities. For public service, for instance, he might well choose none of the outlets we've seen. He might prefer, for instance, to learn the deaf and dumb alphabet. Or, if he lives by the sea, to become proficient in the work of the Coast Guard Service.
And who keeps count of these activities?
Well, that's done by a record book. Here it is. That gets filled in by the judges as he takes and passes the various tests. As you can imagine, that becomes, in the long run, a very prized possession.
Fitness section?
Yes, that's important. Though there must be exceptions, normally it's part of the makeup of the whole person. Because getting and keeping fit has a close bearing on the mental attitude. A fit mind and a fit body, you know the tag. Most boys don't need any prompting. Given the chance, they're keen to improve in one or other form of fitness activity. And as I said before, the scheme doesn't call for champions, just for a good, all-round average.
looks like a race. It is, but with a difference. Each boy is up against the stopwatch. All he has to do is to equal a stated time, and he's passed the test. Quite a good effort. But there's no need to break records, just to reach a set height. Again, the target is known. Most boys can reach it after training. Some may prefer javelin throwing, or putting the shot may be your choice. These young men have chosen throwing the discus. Ah, a visitor. Didn't we see him before, complete with duffel? He wants to have a go. This should be good. Sorry. Not without practice, I fear. At Wallingford Farm Training School, where boys may learn farming and building, great store is put on physical fitness. Exercise without monotony seems to be the motto. It's a lucky muscle that has been forgotten by the end of this routine. Once you're really fit, you see life from an entirely new angle.
Do you find, sir, that the boys keep in trim after the tests?
Once he's experienced the fun of it, and there's a good chance he'll keep it up. And now we come to pursuits.
Hobbies?
Well, rather more than that. The idea is to interest a boy in some form of creative or purposeful activity, which isn't part of his professional job. The scope's enormous. It covers a host of things: model making, gardening, writing or acting in a play, astronomy, sailing, canoe building, stamp collecting. That's just a few examples of a great many activities of that sort. So a lot of these tasks can be done at home, but many schools provide all sorts of facilities. But of course they must be done mainly in the pupil's own leisure time.
These two lads at Stoneleigh West County Secondary School have chosen to make a cucumber frame. The bulk of the work has been done at home, but the school's handwork room is the best place for the glazing. Let's hope they've made it big enough for the cucumber they have in mind. Ceramics, the art of pottery making, to use it. What a really satisfying craft. First, to evolve both shape and pattern, then to the real business. An art in every sense, and so gloriously messy. Into the oven with you. The first baking. Opening the door for the last time. What a thrill. Lovely. And all from a lump of clay. The Stanton Ironworks at Nottingham is one of the firms which allows its boys to make use of works equipment. This becomes the home of the model-making clan. In the process of being turned is a flywheel, destined to become an important component of this little mill engine. A beautifully constructed model of James Watt's beam engine made by a 15-year-old. Thanks for the reminder. Yes, other boys have other targets. Marksmanship is also on the list of recognized pursuits. One eye along the sights, and the other on the award, maybe. Ah, the joys and hazards of rock climbing. A little brushing up on knots. The bowline, one of the most important in the climber's repertory, used for leader and last man. The middleman's knot. Also easy, when you know the ropes. This is the real thing. Right. So that's the purpose of the boating. Phew. Never thought I'd make it. Back to the arts again. It's filmmaking this time at a London boys' club. A single undertaking which combines a number of crafts: authorship, acting, photography, direction. The designing and making of the sets is also an important part. And finally, the editing of the film. Everyone giving of his best towards a single goal. You doubt if you'd be good at any of these things? Well, the boys of Thornley Park School near Paisley are taking part in a really exciting project. The making of a full-sized canoe. Lend us a hand, you fellas. We want to try her out. She floats jolly well. Seaworthy, too. Why, it's child's play. Simply keep on dipping the paddle. Oh. Oh, well, perhaps after all, there's some sense in the rule that only swimmers may take out a canoe.
And it all goes down in here.
Yes, that's right. The time spent, the progress made, and so on.
I'm particularly interested by this section. Expedition.
Well, that's exactly what it means. A cross-country journey involving nights spent in the open. It isn't simply physical, and it's by no means kid stuff. I'm particularly keen on this section, and what's more important still, so are all the boys. The idea is to give an outlet for the spirit of adventure which boys have, and to develop such qualities as foresight, self-reliance, courage, teamwork, as well as physical endurance. Now, these expeditions must have a purpose to them, and they've got to be planned by the boys themselves. During the actual test, although they'll have to be supervised in a general way for safety reasons, the whole leadership of the expedition is theirs.
Canoes again. And this time put to serious purpose. An expedition by water. Au revoir, and good luck. These lads near Dorking are being briefed before setting out on a 24-hour first series expedition. Being members of the 1st Cadet Battalion, the Queen's Royal Regiment, the test rather naturally becomes an exercise.
Well, all I've got to do now is to give the sealed orders to the 2 section commanders. Corporal Gardner, Alex section, those are yours. Monty section, those are yours. And the best of luck to you.
You will therefore make for the small wood at grid reference 155489, where you will attempt to make contact with the chief. Any questions? Righto then, lads, off we go.
Let's see. This is the way. Grid reference That's where we're making for. And look, that must be the wood. Fine. We're bang on. In the midst of wild and beautiful country on the banks of Lake Windermere is the YMCA summer camp. Here, a special course is held for any who have entered for the Duke of Edinburgh's award. An air of excitement pervades the camp. Preparations are afoot for a mountain expedition. Already the boys have been divided into parties of 3. On the spacious lawn, they listen keenly to the advice of their instructor on such vital matters as rations and equipment. Now comes the packing. And fair dues with the weight. And next, the final briefing. There's just time to dash off a letter or have another look at the map before the great moment. The moment of the off. Next morning, and a change in the weather. Sir John Hunt and the leaders confer.
We can make it.
Right. Carry on.
The expedition was never intended as an endurance test, but it becomes pretty near to one during the descent. Difficult country, coupled with the hard conditions, call for both fortitude and courage. In these and other qualities, the lads show themselves well up to the standard of the second series. Home again. The boys listen with rapt attention, while Sir John enlarges upon the lessons that have been learned.
There's one more discovery I've made through climbing mountains. We're apt to go around with blinkers on in the city, seeing things out of proportion, ourselves particularly. Mountains open up our minds to things beyond ourselves and our petty worries. The challenge they make, the friendships they build, the impression of strength and beauty of mountain scenery. These things bring out the best in you and help you straighten out your ideas. Once you sense this, you've made the biggest discovery of all.
Sir John wishes them luck and hopes that each one of them will go on for the award.